Hi everyone, my name is Anubhav and I'm in my final year of university studying a double degree in Applied Finance and Professional Accounting. So today we're going to be speaking a bit more about the Bachelor of Applied Finance, and with me I have Nock Nguyen. So thank you so much for joining us. So Nock was actually a 2011 graduate who completed the Bachelor of Applied Finance here at Macquarie. So Nock,
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. Thank you for being here. So just got a couple of questions. So what did you enjoy the most about studying Applied Finance here?
There's a lot of factors that, contributing to my love for Macquarie.
Yep.
But one of the things that I enjoy the most when studying finance at Macquarie is about the flexibility that I had when choosing my subjects.
Yep.
So you have to do a few compulsory, core units, but after that you get spoiled with all the choices. So from my personal experience, I enjoy numbers.
Yep.
So I selected all the finance, econometrics, economics, a bit of accounting,
Yep.
and which was proven to be very helpful for both my professional and personal development down the track.
Oh wow, that sounds great. Okay, so how did your degree really assist you in your professional goal?
To me, the finance degree can be defined as something that is narrow and broad. And what I meant by that is it is narrow enough, so you're still the subject matter expert in something, specialize in something, and have some in-depth knowledge in something, in this case, finance.
Yep.
But at the same time, because the application is so broad, such that you have a wide range of career choices. And in my case, I started my career in corporate finance and business valuation. I started, doing business valuation for multiple engagements, from commercial disputes, legal disputes, like divorce cases, and then later on merger and acquisition.
Yep.
And then after 5 years, I moved on to more the property development type of business, doing a lot of finance and project finance analysis.
Yep.
For shopping center operator and owner.
Yep.
And then at the moment, the last 3 years, been working at Stockland, supporting their finance team.
Yep.
On numbers of residential and retirement living development. And after 10 years, I might be moving out of finance, and next month we'll be starting as a strategy manager,
Yep.
still at Stockland. But as you can see, I have a very wide range of career choices, and I've been through multiple industries and having lots and lots of exposure.
Well, thanks for that. So just to add on to what you just said, do you think that the course at Macquarie really supports or gets you adjusted and prepared for the work after graduation?
I think being adaptive and flexible is so important in today, for every graduates, and especially for finance graduates, because as you know, like we have all the robots and AI gonna be replacing us in the future, very likely.
Yep.
So definitely being able to have the knowledge and study something that is narrow but broad enough so that you can be adaptive to the future is
Yep.
definitely the way to go.
Oh, definitely. So what do you think is the biggest piece of advice you could give to someone considering to study applied finance at Macquarie?
For me, it would be something that my first manager, the piece of advice that he gave to me,
Yep.
which is be curious.
Okay.
I think it's important to be genuinely curious about everything you do.
Yep.
Any task that you've been given to, or any projects that you're working on, by being curious, you would ask the right questions, and not just, get the numbers, but after that, think about above and beyond that. What does that mean? How can I, utilize this, to make a better decision? Or how do I present this in a way that would be helpful for my audience? And then also, I think for future students, I think it's important also to participate, get yourself involved in everything that you can in uni, because not only you picked up some new skills, but at the same time, have fun with it. Uni is only 3 years or 4 years for some people.
Yep.
Just have fun. And when you have fun, I'm sure it will show in your CV. You come across as a well-rounded person, and you'll be happy. After you get to your workplace, I don't know how much leave you can get. So yeah, make sure you have fun, lots of fun.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Nock.
Thank you for having me.
And if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to join our business room right now. It's live, and there'll be someone that can help your questions.
Hey everyone, welcome back. This is our last session here for the Accounting, Finance and Economics Studio. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we've had you throughout the day, but thank you for being here for our last session. Now, I'm sure you've heard it multiple times, but my name is Sienna. I'm studying a Bachelor of Commerce here at Macquarie University, majoring in Decision Science, and I've got a Master in Management lined up because I'm not going anywhere just yet. Macquarie's got me for a little bit longer. Now, for this session, I'm joined by Nock Nguyen. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank
now, Nock Nguyen is a Macquarie University Business School Bachelor of Applied Finance graduate. It's a bit of a mouthful, but that's what she is. And the really valuable thing about this session with Nock Nguyen right now is all today we've had professors, lecturers, doctors, and now we get to speak with a graduate, someone who's walked in the shoes that you're considering walking in, someone who's going to be able to give you a real life experience and understanding for what it's like to study here at Macquarie University. So I think it's going to be able to give you a really well-rounded perspective. You've chatted with the professors, you've asked them their questions, and now you get to ask a graduate. So she also actually does some tutoring on our finance units taught in the Bachelor of Applied Finance. So she's got a bit of interesting background, so let's get straight into things, okay? So first question I'd love to ask you is, it sounds like you've been able to pivot your career recently and go from corporate finance type roles into property finance. Now, how does that happen? Is that easy? Is it doable to change your mind within the finance industry?
Definitely. Thanks, Sienna, for the question. So, I guess I was lucky enough to study finance, and to me, finance is a very interesting degree where it is actually narrow enough such that you can be the subject matter expert in the field, but at the same time broadly enough such that you can adopt your knowledge to multiple industries or careers paths. So it was absolutely easy and
possible.
doable. Yeah, it was
So,
possible.
I mean, the cool thing about that is you can get a taste test for a variety of different industries. You don't have to just go into one industry and stay there forever. You can actually use those skills that you've gained in the Bachelor of Applied Finance and transfer that skill set across the industries.
Definitely. And after 9 years in the finance industry, I'm now moving to strategy.
Oh, there you go.
So definitely doable.
Definitely possible. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Now, someone's asked, how competitive is it to get into investment banking? Now, that's actually a very good question. I'd love to know your answer to that.
Yep.
Is it really that competitive?
It is definitely very competitive. They usually only pick the top of the top.
Okay.
So not only academically, but also, I guess, other areas such as can you do presentation?
Communication skills.
Communications, personal skill. Are you the type that can make connection easily with your clients? Those sort of skills. So definitely not only academic.
Okay, so they're not just looking for the academics. You need to be a well-rounded individual and have
Definitely.
those experiences. Now, within the Bachelor of Applied Finance here at Macquarie University, we have an incorporated capstone. I'm not sure if that was something that you had while you were as a student. Did you?
Yes, I
You
did.
So that's
yeah.
something that they've continued on up until now. I recently did mine. And the really cool thing is it actually gives you the chance to get out there with industry professionals and work on your practical skills within the industry and using your finance skills or whatever discipline you may be in.
Yep.
But also you get to work on the right way to communicate with a professional and how to maintain those standards. So can you just talk us through a little bit about your experience with that unit and how you were able to develop those skills while you were still studying?
Yeah. So the unit was taught by Lurian. If you were in the live
session?
chat,
Yeah.
you would have known Lurian. So yeah, the units was structured in a way that every week there's like a industry practitioner coming in, giving a lecture about a topic that they are the subject matter expert, and basically the student then have a taste of what it's like from a professional person point of view. And during that time, I was lucky enough to actually had the chance to learn about a topic in corporate finance, and later on, know more about the company that later on I become a graduate.
So that's what I was going to ask. So you actually were able to transfer as a graduate into a role with them.
Yeah, definitely.
So that experience, having the practical experience, being able to develop professionally,
Yep.
that actually built the bridge for you from a study world into the professional world. So where did you start when you were a graduate? Where was your first role?
I started as a graduate at a boutique valuation firm called Longley & Edwards and Associates.
Okay.
So they specialize in valuations for commercial disputes, legal disputes, and valuation for tax purposes and merger and acquisition.
Okay. Now, how would you say the transition was from being a student here at Macquarie University to the workforce? Now, I'm about to make that transition myself, and I guess I'm asking this personally because I'm quite curious, but I'm sure people at home watching are curious as well. How much of a shock is it to the system when you go from a student within business or finance specifically to the workforce?
I wouldn't lie, it was quite a big
Okay.
shock because what you learn from textbooks would not be adopted like 100%.
Okay.
So you actually have to be adaptive, be flexible there, make a judgment call whether this is appropriate to be applied in the real world. So yeah, it's actually quite interesting.
It's quite a big jump, but you felt the skills that you gained were valuable. It was just, there was a lot of learning to continue doing.
Definitely. And I think Macquarie really, really supportive of that mindset. In every course that I do, it's not just about learning the material, but always encouraging. Actually, you guys should go to say this website or Google to actually read more about it.
Find more out.
Exactly. So it's never stop learning. I would say, and it's the attitude that all the lecturers, all the teaching staff here are telling the students. So I think it's very valuable.
And I guess the teaching staff are continually learning themselves.
Exactly.
And they're learning from their students, and I guess the millennial mindset, it's ever changing, isn't it? Now, you're a teacher yourself. Can you talk us through a little bit about what it's like kind of going full circle as a student, going into the workforce, and now being back here teaching? What lessons have you learnt from the workforce and from being a student here that have helped you being a teacher?
That's a very great question. So I think what I try to do in all of my tutorial is to try to put in a bit of a taste of the real world in how I deliver my tutorials. So it's not just about, say, risk-free rates or just these numbers. It's always about, okay, how do we use this in real life? How is it relevant of how we use it in the real world?
Constantly tying it back to that's the whole goal, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
that's
study for a job at the end. So
That's
tying
right.
it back, that's such a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a question come through. Someone's wanting to know, what is the biggest piece of career advice you can have for someone that's done the Bachelor of Applied Finance here at Macquarie University, going out into the workforce? What's the one piece of advice you would give them?
Be curious, because when you're curious, you would always try to learn more. Try to keep asking yourself the question, so what can I do with this piece of information? How can I do this better? And having that right mindset would really help you to not only meeting the expectation of the employer or your managers, but exceeding it by far. And by doing that, you will proceed really well and ahead of your peers.
Absolutely. And I guess being curious also allows you to kind of stumble upon opportunities that you maybe didn't know existed. Like, if you were to see yourself 9 years ago, is this where you thought you would be today?
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Actually, before I got the recent promotion, I got into a role where the job offer was unexpected.
Okay.
And later on, and it was a role where I actually helped out a general manager, so who's very high up, and I was like, oh wow, like I couldn't believe it.
Didn't expect it, absolutely.
And he was like, actually, to be fair, now that you're with me now, I just want to be, honest. And the reason why I picked you was because you seem to be quite curious about everything.
There you go.
So it happened to be. So I was like, yeah, this is the piece of advice that if someone asked me, I would definitely
Be curious. Be open-minded about the possibilities, because the future is an unknown and things are ever changing. Now, something I would love to touch on is COVID.
Yep.
So as a professional within the field of finance,
Yeah.
has there been a distinct change at the hand of COVID, and how do you think that will unfold as the months, years go on?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. There's been like a big change for the finance industry, and I would say the change has been. I can see a bigger demand in the finance graduates or finance professionals, because now the world has changed, the way we do business has changed, the consumers are now changing their behaviors, the way they shop, the way they live. So company would really need a good finance team or finance graduate or professionals to help them leading through that time of uncertainties, of new thing changing, and definitely in the future, the only certainty, the only certain things is the uncertainties.
Exactly.
So definitely from a company point of view, knowing more about like financial perspective and how to execute their strategy from a finance point of view and stay profitable is extremely important.
So you can confirm the finance industry is not about to disappear.
Definitely not, but maybe the way we do finance should be different now. Maybe knowing Excel now is not good enough. Maybe you have to learn new skills. You have to learn more about Power BI, language skills, data analytics, that sort of things to stay relevant in the job market. So to me, stability is not about having the same job from the time you graduate until you retire, like our parent generations. To me, stability is the ability to stay relevant, to always have a job, even if when the world is changing.
Absolutely. And I spoke about this earlier with the gentleman in regards to how technology is taking a lot of roles, and it's meaning we have to kind of change the way we think. Have you experienced that firsthand, that you've had to kind of think on your feet and go, how can I make myself more valuable to, I guess, be more valuable than a computer?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So I think the computer can be trained and do things that, it's repetitive and, more accurate and more efficient than a human being. But the judgment that a human being can make are very unique to us. Being able to advise people, like say management, it's also very important to us. So I don't think those one would be replaced by computers by any time soon. Therefore, yeah, I think what I've seen in the workplace as well is, all these business as usual tasks that are now being replaced by computers, but all the insights, how we can execute it to position us better in the market, given the situations happening, cannot be replaced by any computer anytime soon.
We've got a brain. Computer will never have that.
Not yet.
Absolutely. Now, where to next for you? Where are you planning on going? I mean, you've started the Bachelor of Applied Finance here at Macquarie. You've gone on to do so much already in the 9 years since you've graduated, but where do you see yourself 10 years down the track?
Oh, that's very interesting. I never actually planned any career without thinking about the next role.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I am the strategy manager at Stockland, and I already have a plan, in the next 5-10 years to be the business managers of, say, like to buy the CEO of a company.
So there's scope to go upwards.
Yep. And or maybe go back to Macquarie to do a PhD. Who knows?
There you go. Well, we'd love to have you back. You've been wonderful to chat with. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Some incredible insights and a very interesting career in the 9 years since you've graduated. You've done a lot. You've been very busy, but hopefully we do have you back for a PhD down the track. No one's going to be complaining about that. We'll welcome you with open arms. And thank you to all of those of you at home tuning in. Now, I know it's been a long day and I'm sure it wasn't the open day you were expecting, but thank you so much for being involved. Thank you for asking questions. Thank you for being here and giving this a go. I know it's not typical open day, but I really appreciate your involvement. Now, that's it for accounting, finance and economics. That's our last live session for the day. Okay, so thank you so much for being here. But in regards to what's coming up, our live chat will remain open up until 5 p.m. You can see that in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. We'll have experts on there up until the 5 p.m. mark. So continue asking questions. You can also jump back to Studio Central and watch something there if you're looking for something else to entertain yourself with. But also, if you scroll down from this video, you can find the downloadable flyers and PDFs. So there's always something to entertain you with up until that 5 p.m. mark. But it gets better. So Macquarie University Open Day Streamed is actually going to become Macquarie University Open Day On Demand. So everything you can see on this site currently will remain up until the 13th of September. Okay, so you can see all the PDFs and the flyers and the downloads that will all remain active up until the 13th of September. Now, as for this video I'm making right now, that will be uploaded next week. So all of this content, everything you've been able to access today, you will be able to continue accessing it for the weeks to come, okay? Thank you again for your time, Nock.
Thank you.
Thank you again for tuning in, and hopefully we see you here at Macquarie University soon enough. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.